Well, hey there, Mama, and welcome back to the Moms Overcoming Overwhelm podcast, episode number 136. I'm Emily McDermott, and I'm here beside you on this journey as we work together to declutter your home, head, and heart. A few announcements before we dive into today's conversation with my friend Michelle Byrd. And the main update is that we now have 6 people that have entered the review giveaway that is going on until June 30th. So if you have not left a review for the show on Apple Podcasts, or if you've already done that, thank you. And if you can share the show, you can be entered in the running for a $50 Amazon gift card. So I really appreciate everyone who has been showing their support of the show. And if you've been listening for a while, I would love it if you could take 30 seconds to leave that review, and I would love to be able to gift you with the Amazon gift card. So check out the show notes for more information about that giveaway. Now, today we are having a conversation very close to my heart as my kids are currently at the pool with my husband, and it is about time management hacks to get more done this summer, even with kids at home. And we are talking to my friend Michelle Byrd. She was on episode 94, which I have linked in the show notes today. And she's a daughter of the king, wife, mom, gym rat, podcaster, coffee enthusiast, health coach, extrovert, and lover of people. And she is the host of the top-ranked podcast for Christian working moms, The Busy Vibrant Mom. And she helps working moms with productivity hacks, time blocking, organizational systems, purposeful parenting, and time management tools. So she is sharing 3 time management tips for you, in addition to some great ideas for activities for the kids to beat boredom this summer. So make sure you check out the show notes, as I am going to be linking to a couple of her relevant episodes, as well as some episodes that I've had on the podcast all about time management and summer routine. So what do you say? Grab the notebook and pen, and let's dive into today's conversation with Michelle Byrd. Hey there, Mama. Are you tired of all the stuff crowding your home, calendar, and mind? Do you wish you could say goodbye to the endless to-do list running around in your head? Want to declutter but don't know where to start? You're in the right place. Welcome to Moms Overcoming Overwhelm, where you will find proven and practical solutions to declutter your home, head, and heart. Hi, I'm Emily, a wife, boy mom, and simplicity seeker. I struggled to get pregnant and felt overwhelmed until I discovered decluttering could create the physical and emotional space I needed to become a mom. Now, 2 kids later, I've transformed my life and motherhood by developing simple systems around decluttering, capsule wardrobes, kid stuff, cleaning and tidying, meal planning, time management, and more, and I can't wait to share them with you. If you're ready to reclaim the time and energy you crave, be present with your kids, and finally enjoy the life and motherhood you so deserve, let's kick overwhelm to the curb, shall we? Grab your lukewarm coffee, your notebook and pen, and clear up some counter space. Let's do this. Well, hey, Michelle, welcome back to the Moms Overcoming Overwhelm podcast. I am thrilled to chat with you today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I was checking. I had to go back in the episode archive and check, but you were here. It was episode 94, one of the top episodes I've had, which is 5 productivity hacks to help you stay on top of your day. And the thing I loved about that episode, besides talking to you, is that you were giving ideas for working moms and stay-at-home moms and in different seasons. And that is just super helpful. So really happy to have you back. And I would love it if you could tell us a little bit about you, how you serve moms, and kind of what motherhood is looking like for you as we are entering this summer season.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I love organization and decluttering. So that's like my wheelhouse as well. So I just like, oh, we could just talk forever. Let's see. So right now in this season, I'm serving moms through my podcast, The Busy Vibrant Mom, which has lots of tips and tricks for time management and other things, and parenting and all kinds of stuff. And then also I'm thinking doing kind of a book club this summer. there's a couple books I really want to read. So I'm like, maybe if I get some more people, I could I could be motivated to read them. And I'd also love to get just moms together in person. It's kind of a dream to like get more moms together in person and be able to connect with them and support one another. So that's kind of where I am as far as what I'm doing right now and kind of my vision and helping other moms.
I love that. I want to be a part of your book club. So sign me up, or we can put the link in the show notes here for the book club if you end up doing that. And I agree, there is something really special about connecting with moms in person. And I've been kind of thinking about doing some workshops or, those type of things. And I wish that we lived closer. We were just talking about that, right? But
I know.
yeah, there is something special because, especially in the summer and what we're going to be talking about, prioritization and sort of the time management piece becomes even more critical because we have kids home when they're normally not home. And even if they're at camps, there's kind of the other logistics of how that is all working. And so it's kind of a very different feel to the season and how we have to manage our time. And I was just curious, any tips or tricks that you have? We are here for all of them. About, like, I was just talking about, oh, I have to go to the grocery store and my kids are a little older now, but I don't really like going grocery shopping with them. I'm not going to lie. They're always asking for stuff. I'm constantly saying no to like the sugary cereals and the ice cream and all the other stuff. But we still got to feed these people. So I'm just curious, any tips you have for kind of coming into summer and being able to recognize the unique nature of this season, but still be able to prioritize and get things done. So we are all ears, Michelle.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, summer is just a different animal. It's um I've tried to plan for it. I can't plan for it. I've tried to figure it out. I can't like things. I find that you just have to be flexible. You have to be patient and you have to treat it as an adventure. You have to like, so it's coming. It can be really fun and really difficult at the same time. And I think it's really important not to fight it, but to kind of embrace that this is a different season, not to hold those same expectations that you do of, I'm going to get X, Y, and Z done, to know that your days are going to look different and to be okay with that. I think that gives you a lot of grace and then helps you be a little bit more patient with the things that come your way, right? Where you're like, I had plan A and now we're on plan F. And like, I don't even know how we got there, but I can't even get these things done that I was planning to. So I think it's holding that space for ourselves of just, we're not going to be at the same capacity and not to expect that we are. I think that's just where like a starting point
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah. I just want to mention real quick that on the weekend that just passed, I was like, okay, I really want to clean the house. And I had meant to do it throughout the week in little pockets of time. It hadn't happened. And my husband was like, okay, well, we can help you clean the house. And I know that I should frequently use my kids to like help clean. Like I know that they're old enough that they can do this. But to be honest, I'm not so great about that. I usually just do it myself. And so my son is dusting and it's like 2 minutes later and he's like, I'm done. I'm thinking to myself, really? Are you really done? But again, it's kind of holding that with an open hand, like he's helping, he has a willingness to help. It may not be exactly how I want it, but it's housework done imperfectly. I heard this once, housework done imperfectly still blesses my family. And I try to remember that always. So then it's kind of like in the summer, anything that I want to look a certain way, even if it doesn't end up the way that I hoped, it's still okay. Like it's still a blessing to the family. It's still a season to enjoy each other. And so I don't know. I love that reframing and just kind of having that flexibility and openness as we're approaching, because if you approach in this very rigid fashion, you're going to have unmet expectations. You can feel resentful, and it's just not a good way to go about it. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, yeah. When you look back on it and you're like, oh, I didn't really have a great summer. And it's because of all those expectations that you're holding, like, oh, I was going to get this done and we didn't. And then you're frustrated, as you said. And I love that of like, the house is still clean. We're still being blessed by you dusting, even if you dusted one shelf, that's okay. You vacuumed some things, but you're learning, like, it's taking it all with grace. Like, okay, we'll just keep working on this and, it'll be a little bit better. Well, three main time management tips that I have for this summer. So, I've talked with a couple other moms and like interviewed them, and I have to say, hands down, these are what they use as well. So, number one, they've both said time blocking. Make sure you block out your day and when you're going to get your work done. So that might be, if you have little kids, maybe they're up in the morning, right? First thing, and they're running around like crazy people. And then, but at nap time, when you put them down, you'll have that block of time, or in the evening when they go to sleep a little earlier. Or if you have, like me, I have two teenagers and they're asleep until noon. And so I can get a majority of my work done before they're up and running, and ready to go. So if I plan my work block earlier, they stay up super late. And so there's no way I could get a lot of work done in the evening. But if I know, okay, in the morning I can get this chunk done, I think that's really important. So to kind of look at your day as time blocks, as chunks, because that will help you get a better picture of your day instead of, oh, I have all day to do these five things. You only have, the 2 hours in the morning or the 2 hours in the afternoon or whatever that might be. So that will help you just to block out your day a little bit more. And then the second thing is being super productive within those blocks. So within those blocks, you want to make sure that you're timing yourself. Sometimes using a timer can help. That you're not getting distracted by your phone. That usually you turn it on work or silent so that you can just put it away for a little bit. And then you're using kind of a time management system. Usually that will help. Or also using a planner, whether you're planning out, okay, these are the things I'm going to get done. You could do a brain dump if you want. Like these are all little tools, and some of them help certain people rather than others. And so take what works for you. If you like to do, I have one friend who likes to do a big brain dump, and then she's like, okay, these three things I'm going to get done in this day or during my productivity times. Or I have other friends who map everything out on like a task map software, like digitally, and they're like, okay, this is the next thing, this is the next thing. So use whatever puzzle piece works best for you. And it may be writing things down, it may be digital, that kind of thing. But just know when you're in that space and that time that you have to be super productive.
Yeah, I love that. But also because I find in my summer, each day is not the same, but it has kind of a similar rhythm. So normally we do like a morning VBS or camp that ends around lunchtime. The kids have lunch. Then we go to the pool. We have a neighborhood pool that we go to for a couple hours. Then they're tired and spent. And then I can maybe put on a movie or kind of have them do sort of like a quiet activity, which we're going to be talking about that in a bit. But I think that that is helpful for me to know, like, okay, so the time that they're at camp, that's the work block. The time that they might be relaxing, watching a movie or whatever, that's when I can do some cleaning or like the dinner prep or my to-dos. Like I call the doctor's office and make that appointment. So just kind of understanding maybe what tasks are best suited for what your days look like. And then you can kind of plan that accordingly. And also, I like looking within the week and knowing, okay, I might not be able to get to those appointments and to-dos and emails and whatever every single day, but I know that at least like 2 or 3 days in that afternoon, I can get to it. So then we're not like, oh my gosh, I have to pay that bill. Oh my gosh, I have to pay that bill, because we know that we're paying it on Wednesday at like 2 o'clock when the kids start the movie, and then we're able to do some of those to do. So I have found that kind of blocking has been helpful, almost looking at kind of that week view rather than just the week and the daily, I guess, to make sure everything has a spot. I love how you use puzzle pieces because that's exactly what it feels like, you know?
It does. It feels like you have to fit in things. And also with that, there's different, as you said, there's different things that you can do when when you need it silent, and you need your kids at camp. Or there's different tasks you can do while you're at the pool with them and you're sitting with your phone and you can be answering email or you can be doing certain tasks that allow you to keep watching them in the pool. So you want to also be mindful of which tasks you're putting into which of those kind of time blocks, which of those buckets. And so you're fitting in like, oh, okay, I only have 2 hours while I take them to kids camp and then I have to go pick them up again. What are some things I could do at a coffee shop so I don't have to drive back and forth? So I can just I like to pack a little bag of stuff that like I just carry around and so it's ready to go if I'm going to go to a coffee shop or something. And so you can put stuff in there that you don't require a computer. Maybe you just need your phone. So kind of figure out which things are like a to-do thing that you can do silent with kids, half with kids.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I was talking about on your podcast actually about how in the summer I like to go to the library multiple times a week because my kids just kind of burn through these books. They're like, okay, I read it in 2 minutes and I'm done. I'm like, okay, great, but also thinking about like a quiet place, like if there's a library near their camp, then I could go
Right.
pick up new books. And then also it's a quiet space, where I could work. And so just kind of thinking ahead a little bit about batching, some of those
Mhm.
tasks together. Like I always talk about how I do Costco and there's a compost place right beside it. So I drop off my compost and recycling. And then I go do my Costco run. And I always do those tasks batched together because of location and the frequency in the week. And so it's just another way to kind of be more efficient when we have like limited time or things don't look the same as they look
Right.
during the school year. So those are all amazing tips. Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah, I love going to the library. The library is great because you don't have to buy anything.
Yeah.
There's usually a restroom and it's nice and calm and quiet and there's air conditioning, like in
Mm-hmm.
a hotter area or if it's hot outside, So it's a really nice place to go. You just have to check if they're open.
Yeah. I have had that happen before where I'm like, I'm going to have some me time on a Sunday. And then all the libraries are closed. I'm like, okay,
Nope.
fine.
The third thing before I
Mhm.
forget is to outsource. So give more chores and tasks to your kids and your spouse. We were kind of talking about that as far as cleaning and that kind of thing. But you might even like hire a teenager as a mother's helper. They're home from school and are usually have time. Or maybe you're swapping babysitting with a neighbor down the street where you're going to watch their kids and then they'll watch yours and you can get in a little extra time. So it's just kind of being scrappy as far as outsourcing of really asking other people for help and helping other people.
I love that. And actually, I live near a college, and it is nice in that there's always kids home that can do that kind of stuff or like babysit. And I sometimes having the parties at night, I'm not really a fan of, having to hear those, but it is nice because you have a lot of like young kids that are willing to help out. And so that's a great idea. And then also just kind of like those swaps, like you said, because a lot of times, other moms or other parents, maybe in your neighborhood, are kind of in the same boat where they're like, okay, how am I going to get all of this done? So maybe if one mom takes, the combined 5 kids to the park for an hour or so, and then the other mom comes and they switch off or something like
Right.
that, you can just kind of be creative because I can't handle 5 kids all the time. But I could do it for like 2 hours. Like I could probably handle
Right.
that. So I think that that's a great reminder to be aware of the resources that you have around you and figure out creative ways to utilize them so that I feel like this is a great time in the summer for me to teach my kids actually how to clean properly. So maybe
I
that's
hear
one of
you.
the things I need to do this summer.
Me too. Me too. I'm like, they're home, they can do these things. So, whereas, during the school year, they're running around and you're running around like crazy. And now suddenly they have all this time. So I'm like, okay, I can take a few extra minutes and teach you how to do this or that. And then we're working on laundry currently because I usually take on laundry. It's easy for me to do. I do it by myself. I don't have to deal with anybody. And like I throw it in and like finish it up. And so I have my own routine, but it's like they're home and they should learn how to do their own laundry. So we have to kind of work on that routine of switching it up. So
We're doing the exact same thing. That's so funny. My 8-year-old was just like, I think I should do my own laundry. And like the one part of my brain was like, yeah, you should. And the other part of my brain is like, but what about my laundry routine?
right? You're like, I already
So
have it down.
I already have it down, you know? So I think I need to be more open and realize I need to be, training these kids so that they can launch into the world. And that's more important probably than my precious routine. So
Oh,
that's a
I
really
hear
great
you.
reminder.
I'm right there with you. I'm like, I
Yeah,
just do it. It'd be faster.
I know. Oh my gosh. Well, I would love to transition into talking about creative ways that we can entertain kids so we can maybe get some of these things done without screens, because believe me, I utilize screens, and we try to be very intentional. But I was just saying about how after a day, after camp in a pool, I'm going to put on a Disney film for 90 minutes and not feel bad about it. But are there any like screen-free ways that you would recommend kind of having some activities for the kids that can free up some time for the parents? I know that this is age specific, but I would love to hear some ideas from you.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's so funny because I was saying I just did a whole episode on this. So if you want to listen to like more in depth, you can find that episode. But yeah, I think the first thing is just to realize that your kids are going to be bored. That like they are just, and that's okay. That's part of summer, and that they actually need less stimulation and they need the chance to be bored so that they can creatively find adventure and other things to do. But it's so easy to feel like you need to keep them entertained all the time. So we'll just put that down at the bottom, at the base of our discussion.
Yeah, I just real quick, that is such a good reminder because I just get this is what happens when my kids say that they're bored. You will appreciate this. I go, okay, well, what toys do you want me to donate? And I start going around. And I'm like, I haven't seen you play with this. Maybe I'll donate it. And then my kid's like, no, 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 I'll play with that now. And I'm like, okay, there you go. So that's not maybe necessarily the healthiest way to go about it, but I just get so annoyed when kids are like, I'm bored. And I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this house. Like you have a ton of options, even as a decluttering minimalist mom person.
There's always something to
Yeah,
do.
but that's
There's
good that
always something to
the
find.
boredom isn't like the enemy. Like, oh my gosh, I can't, have my kids be bored or else I'm a bad parent, because it does like open up that possibility to do other things. So thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, they will be bored and that's okay. So some of the things that I talked about was definitely the library. The library is a great resource because, as we said, it's air conditioned and you can go. They have lots of books, and they usually have like a summer reading program. So if your kids, even if your kids are not that into reading, mine are, yours are, but some are not. It gives you a little bit of like competition because you're trying to read X amount of books or whatever. And so if they like that competition, competitive kind of feature to it, sometimes it can help them. Also, if they're at the library picking out their own books and looking through stuff, they get excited more to pick out books and kind of figure out which ones they want to read. So that's a great resource. We have a big bucket of books then that come home from the library, and they can pick them up and do all kinds of things, but they need to return them to that bucket. And that's kind of how we keep them all in one spot, because we usually check out about 100 or so. And so we have to make sure we get them all back.
Wow, that's amazing. We usually get like an average of 20, and I thought that was a lot because I'm like carrying these books out in my arms, or like, oh, but 100, that is, and we have one shelf that we have been putting them on that like everything has to go back. So that is great. And one thing I just want to mention for anyone that has kind of more like emerging readers, I just found out that the Magic Treehouse series, they have a graphic novel version of it. and check if maybe there's some graphic novel versions of some of these series, because it's kind of something that's a little bit of like a lighter read concept, and they have it for teens and they also have it for younger kids. And I feel like it kind of has that fun summer feel, but then they're still reading. So maybe
Yeah.
check out some graphic novels this summer.
Yeah. One of the librarians I loved, they just gave us grace. They were like, it's if your kids just love comics, that's okay, because actually comics are really good because they have to piece together what is happening in the story. It's not like a book form where you're reading it. Their mind has to jump from what's happening and put in the different puzzle pieces into the story. So they said it's okay if they're just reading comics. So if your kids are just reading comics, that still counts. But yeah, ask the librarians also for some other series. The Magic Tree House is great, but they often know, like, oh, if you like the Magic Tree House, you'll also like these. And they're so sweet to talk to. And we've made good friends with the librarians. We bring a wagon, and that's how we transport all of our books because I got tired of carrying them. So I'm just like, if you want to just throw it in, and we just take whatever we can.
I love that. I might borrow a wagon from my neighbor just so I can bring it to the library. That's
So
awesome.
easy. Just roll it in. And I'm like, I don't care who, nobody cares. Just don't dump them all in. So another one, you'll like this one, was explore your room. So clean out your kids' room with them or have them clean out stuff. And you will suddenly find toys that they missed, or maybe they forgot, or suddenly they don't want to throw something out because they suddenly want to play with it. So I always find whenever I help my kids clean their room or they clean their room, that they find toys that are like forgotten.
It's like going to the toy store, except it's in your
Right.
room.
Right. And it declutters at the same time. There you go.
Yes, love it.
Let's see. Another one was to do building. This is more for boys. Some girls love to build too. Legos, puzzles, forts, magnetiles, just build stuff. I know my daughter likes to do more creative stuff and crafts. And so we used to just put out something on the kitchen table, like a big mat. You can get a big, thick placemat. And then she just did all the creative stuff there. And at the end, before nap time, we just cleaned it up. And
Yeah,
then
I
we
have
just
more.
build.
I have one kid that's we have like 65 Lego sets worth of Legos, which I have now meticulously organized. I will have to show you later, Michelle. But anyway,
I want a picture.
I'll send you a picture. It's pretty crazy. But also, then on the other one is more like the creative type. So usually one is in one room doing the Legos, and one's in the other room in the kitchen doing all of the creative stuff. But yeah, that's great too, because we were also talking on your podcast about how I love kids podcasts. And then you can put that on maybe in the background and they can be listening to a story or an audiobook
Yeah,
and
that's a
be
great
kind of
idea.
like entertained while they're doing the creative play or like building with the Legos. And so that way they're also, at least in my house, they're staying out of each other's faces and they're not trying to wrestle each other down to the ground. So that is a great idea. I'm a huge fan of all the building and creative toys.
Yeah. Also, so if you have older kids, ours are getting older. As I said, we have teenagers now. So they are thinking about summer jobs. They designed a dog walking kind of page or pamphlet thing that they can flyer that they can go put up, and they mapped out where they wanted to put it in the neighborhood. They're going to do a lemonade stand. They'll probably pick up mail for people when they're gone. Helping neighbors. One of ours babysits, the other one is excited to babysit. All those little summer jobs, they can keep them really busy, as well as figuring out, okay, you want to do a lemonade stand, how much you're going to charge, where is it going to be, all the things.
Yeah, that is a great idea. And I've even seen like lemonade stands you can like decorate and stuff, like pre-made ones with cardboard. And so they can spend part of the time making it really pretty, like designing it, and then they can figure out how they're selling. And then you have a whole afternoon taken care of right there, right?
Right. Our boys mapped out shifts for when they were going to be at the lemonade stand. And then they'd come in and tag each other, and they'd go sit outside with their lunch or in a book and like be on shift, like at the lemonade stand. So it kept them very busy.
I love that. That's such a great idea. You just reminded me, I'm going to hijack your particular tips with one that I just thought of, which was I just interviewed someone that has owns a toy library here in Northern Virginia. And so you may not have that where you are, but a toy library is a great way to like go and you borrow toys and then you're able to have them for a certain amount of time and then you bring them back. And some of the places have stay and play where you can actually like have a membership and make an appointment. And then again, it's an air conditioned place where you can play
Lovely.
with certain toys. So that kind of depends on your location, but that's something that might be fun kind of to test out for summer when you have more of that daytime block of being able to do that type of thing you normally couldn't do during the school year. So that's pretty cool.
Right. Yeah, we used to go to like a children's museum or something for
Mhm.
half the day, wear them out, and then come back. So those kind of things that are indoor, as you
Yeah.
said, are really helpful. One of the other ones is a water play. So just sending them outside, playing with the hose. Our kids are older, so they love like Nerf gun battles with, guns and all that kind of thing. So, but they just get completely wet and then they have a great time. So water
Uh,
balloon fights, all the things.
yes, definitely. Yeah, my boys have never met a Nerf gun of any kind that they didn't love. So I totally get it.
Yeah, just to kick them outside, have an adventure, hang out with friends. You really just want to make it fun. But it's not your job to make it, fun. These are just ideas. And so I just love just yeah, thinking about with them, like what kind of fun things do you want to do? What goals do you want to have? What things do you want to accomplish? Do you want to have your friends over? Let's figure that out. So that kind of like digging and what do you want this summer to feel like? What do you want to do? Those kind of things can also help figure out some other fun ideas that kind of light them up.
I love that because it's sort of like helping to co-create the summer that they want and picking some of those like big things like, okay, we're not going to go to water park like every single week, but maybe we're going to go to one, like really fun one, like once a month or something and kind of planning those in advance. So those are all great tips, Michelle. This is amazing. And
Oh,
I'm
thanks.
so thrilled always to talk about anything with you, but especially planning and time management and all the things. And I'll make sure to find that episode from your podcast and link that in the show notes as well. So
Oh,
people
thank
can
you.
check that out if they want to find out more summer activities. And I would love it if you could remind us how to connect with you and how all these busy moms can learn to prioritize and manage their time and all the things.
Oh, I love it. Well, thank you. This is always a joy to talk with you because it's so fun. I feel like we just need to talk every day and have coffee. You can find me on my website. It's www.byrd, BYRDMICHELLE.com. So it's byrdmichelle.com. And you can also shoot me just messages on Instagram. My Instagram handle is at thebusyvibrantmom.com. And that is also the title of my podcast, which is The Busy Vibrant Mom. So you can always find me there, or you can connect with me just at contact@byrdmichelle.com. So any of those places you can find, and usually just my website is the best spot.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for coming on the show as a very special repeat guest and appreciate all of the great ideas and hacks that you had to make summer even more enjoyable. So thank you again for being on the show.
Oh, well, thank you.
If you like today's podcast, here's what you can do. Just take 30 seconds to leave me a review. I know you're a busy mama. You're overwhelmed, in fact, but 30 seconds of your day makes such an impact. I'll be blessed by your words. They'll definitely make my day. And who knows, you might be entered for this month's giveaway. In Apple Podcasts, scroll down to write a review. Thanks so much for your time. I'm so grateful for you.